All right, everybody, welcome Howie, and I'm gonna kind of jump in. I know you're getting ready to do AGT, and this whole show here, the big idea is about, specifically, I'm excited to have you on today. But more importantly, for people that are listening, he's a comedian, he's a television personality, he's an actor, producer, director, entrepreneur. We're gonna talk about a little bit of that right now today. The voice of Gizmo, crazy intern on St. Elmo's Fire. And America's Got Talent since 2010. And in my opinion, the inventor and creator of the fist bump handshake, Howie Mandel. It's great to have you, my friend. Thank you so much for doing this.
Good. Most of that was right. I don't know that I was a crazy intern on St. Elmo's Fire, but that's okay. I think you mean I was an emergency room doctor on St. Elsewhere, which is where Denzel started.
Yeah, right.
Yes. But I love that you think I was a crazy intern on St. Elmo's Fire. That was the Brat Pack. That was the Rob Lowe movie, right? Rob Lowe and Demi Moore. And you think you saw.
And I think, I do stand corrected on that, because when I was preparing for today, I kind of go back on these when people have had certain positions in their career where they've made a big idea come to fruition and things like that. And you weren't crazy on St. Elsewhere, but you were widely referred to as somebody that was rowdy, and and that character.
Well, because up until the show premiered in 1982, and up until 1982, any hospital show or medical show had a very conservative kind of image of being a doctor. Everybody has in mind what a doctor should look like, how a doctor should act. And I think that St. Elsewhere, even in the storytelling, kind of broke the mold as far as TV doctors. The truth of the matter was, I played this young intern. It was an internship. I was already an emergency room doctor, wearing a baseball cap, wearing a Boston Red Sox baseball cap, and I had a sense of humor. But the truth of the matter is, I got mail. There was mail at that time, not email. And from many people who were in medical school that say, you remind me of me, you remind me of my friend. We always have a tendency to, imagine based on somebody's job description what they're like. And what we end up finding out, and I found this out, and I think all of us are finding this out as we become adult, you always think that goofball picking his nose sitting next to you in class is one day going to grow up and be, a responsible human being. And then you realize that goofball sitting next to you in class picking his nose, it's the same goofball picking his nose. He just does whatever job he's, fallen in.
Yeah, I said this for years, that, and especially when COVID hit for you, I literally would tell people that Howie created the fist bump handshake because, and you're famous for the OCD, but with the awareness level that you brought to it. But for me, it was like, he created that. You literally caused people to do all this stuff, and all of a sudden, full circle, it became a safe venture, for us. And let's do this instead of this, and hugs and all that other stuff. But did you ever feel like you caused that to happen at all, or was it just me and my lonely island?
No, people say it a lot, but it's nothing I'm proud of. I don't know that there was any thought behind the fact that, you just close your fist so you don't touch anything or get anything, in contact with the palm of your hand. So, I don't know that it was originally my idea. I became pretty renowned for it. And then this pandemic happened, and people gave me credit where credit really isn't due and isn't even really appreciated. I don't take any offense to it, but to be a germaphobe ahead of a world pandemic is not I love the fact that I was the only man, as you say, on that island where I was so nervous and so afraid. And there was always people around me that said, don't worry, you're not going to get sick. Don't worry, you're not going to catch it. Don't worry. And now there isn't anybody to say that. So it's not really enjoying company.
Yeah, I think for me, it's fun that you had a contribution to that where people were more aware of it, if nothing else. When you were growing up in Toronto, is there truth to the rumor when you went to school that you actually called in a prank for an addition to the school?
Yeah. I was a huge fan of Alan Funt, who was the host of a show called Candid Camera, which is the predecessor to every other prank show you've seen since, like Punked and that. And though I wasn't smart enough to know that, I didn't have a TV show, I didn't have an audience, I didn't even really have friends. I liked doing things that were just odd and put people in awkward positions. So I did, through the Yellow Pages, if anybody remembers the Yellow, called a contracting company to show up and measure for an addition onto the library, which and I set the appointment for when I had math at 2:30 in the afternoon, so that I could look out the window and watch somebody measure. I was too stupid to tell even a friend what I was doing, because that would have been fun. I don't know what the fun was for myself, but I remember sitting there in math class and seeing this guy with a clipboard and tape measuring, and then I couldn't hear him or talk to him, and then I saw the principal come out onto the field and have a couple of words with the gentleman, and then leave, and the gentleman left, and then within minutes there was an announcement over the PA system: "Would Howard Mandel please come down to the office?"
I knew it was you right away.
I gave my name. That's part of the awkwardness and doing. And I remember coming into the office and the principal's there, and he says, did you hire a gentleman to put an addition onto the library? And I said, no. He goes, but he said you called him. I said, I did call him. I didn't hire him. I'm getting 3 estimates. And funny, and called my parents. And for me, the joy was, my parents came in. It was just really uncomfortable. And he reiterated the story that, your son was getting estimates on a library addition. And I just saw my mom biting her lip, trying not to laugh. They are responsible parents. And I don't know what he was expecting them to say. We've told him never, ever, ever put an addition onto the library. But I ended up having to leave that school. That was one of many, many, little scenes that happened because of my boredom.
How many of you have actually been thinking about a backyard makeover? Do you wish you had room for a pool? Well, you're going to love this idea, and your family and friends, they're going to love it too. Get a Michael Phelps Swim Spa by Master Spas. A Michael Phelps Swim Spa combines the benefits of a pool with the therapy of a hot tub. It comes in a variety of sizes to complement almost any yard, even if it's a small backyard. Michael Phelps Swim Spas by Master Spas have a water current, so you can swim, do aquatic exercises, and have fun with the kids. This will reinvent family time. The water buoyancy will relieve pressure on aching joints, and you can enjoy pure relaxation in the massage therapy seats of the swim spa. And since it's heated, you can use it year-round in any climate. Michael Phelps Swim Spas are 100% made in the USA by Master Spas, the world's largest swim spa manufacturer. You're going to love your Michael Phelps Swim Spa by Master Spas. Go to masterspas.com, put in the promo code BIGIDEA to save $1,000 on a Michael Phelps Swim Spa or $500 on a Master Spas hot tub. That's masterspas.com, promo code BIGIDEA.
In your early comedy career, what was that moment where you said to yourself, because you spent some time at the Yuck Yuck factory. Was it the Yuck Yuck factory or Yuck Yuck in Toronto?
Just Yuck Yuck.
Just Yuck Yuck. Is that like laughing Yuck Yuck?
I would imagine. I've never heard Yuck Yuck is supposed to be laughed at, but have you ever heard anybody yuck?
No.
It's like even ha ha. Have you heard people go ha 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 ha?
Yeah.
Ha ha. I don't know how.
Well, I think that's where I was referencing the crazy psychotic stuff, because early on you were billed as that type of comedian with your.
Well, because when I originally started, I didn't start. I was dared. Somebody dared me to get up on stage in the late 70s, and I got up. And the joke was going to be, again, not thinking anything through. The joke was going to be that they were going to go, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel. And Howie Mandel is not a comedian. Howie Mandel is not in show business. I love that I'm talking about myself in the third person, like I'm not here. But I just showed up on stage and without any thought, and then realized that, oh my God, this is incredibly embarrassing. There's a bunch of strangers who are waiting for me to do something. There's a spotlight on me. There's a microphone in front of me. And I just, terror kind of took over. And in that terror, I was trying to come up with ideas, and I'm going, okay, all right, okay, wait. And through that okay and wait and terror, people started giggling, and I didn't understand what was going on. And I started asking them what they were giggling. I'd go, what? No, seriously, tell me what? Okay. And that became my act, you know.
It did. I remember that as a younger guy watching that, and your hands and everything that you did.
Welcome to terror, you know, and that was, and terror bought me my first house. I didn't have an act, and I was not pursuing comedy, and I just fell into this.
Well, when you finally made the trip down to LA and you were at the Comedy Store, because I used to watch this show all the time, make me laugh. That was another big idea moment. Was that a discovery moment where they actually this was actually saw there?
No, I came down on vacation. I had done, you know, Yuck Yucks, but it wasn't, and I went on a couple times a week. I used to hang out at the club, but you know, it didn't seem like a viable kind of, you know, some people played poker once a week. Some people went and played basketball at the Y a couple times a week. I didn't like sports. I didn't like gambling. I didn't go dancing. Disco was very big. So to hang out at Yuck Yucks, I still had a day job, and I was not pursuing it. Didn't think it was anything. And I went down to LA, and I had met comedians at Yuck Yucks, and one of the comedians that I had met was Mike Binder, who is now a very prolific director and writer. His movies have been up for Academy Awards, but he was a comic at the time. I met him at Yuck Yucks, and he got me a spot at the Comedy Store, which was going to be a fun story to tell about my vacation. And I went up at the Comedy Store, and there was a producer in the audience from the game show Make Me Laugh, George Foster, who came up to me after and said, do you want to be are you interested in doing television? And which I thought was so Hollywood. I've never had anybody. Yes, I said yes. And he come to his office the next day. And I was the very first time I'd ever been on a studio lot was KTLA in Hollywood. And he had me try to make his secretary laugh. And he said, you're very good. And he that day they were taping, the next day they were taping 5 episodes and in one day. And I taped those episodes and finished, and then flew home back to Toronto with a great story to tell about my vacation. But as they aired, you know, it was a different time when you're on TV. At that time, anybody on TV got kind of, it changed your life. I got seen by Mike Douglas and Merv Griffin, and they called and asked me to come down and be on their shows. And I did. I would commute back and forth from my day job to go there and do the Merv Griffin show, the Mike Douglas show. When I did the Merv Griffin show, I got a call, which was unbelievable, from Gene Simmons of Kiss, which was they were at their height at that moment. And he said, I saw you on Merv Griffin, you're hysterical. Will you be my girlfriend's opening act? And I went, okay. And I said, who's your girlfriend? Wow. And he was living with Diana Ross at the time. And I became Diana Ross's opening act at Caesar's Palace. So it's all serendipitous.
What was your day job?
Now I'm on your podcast. Who knew?
Yeah. Who knew? What was the day job up and back and forth?
Sales, always sales. Carpet. I had carpet, and then I went into lighting with my father. Not show business lighting, you know, like office lighting, like sold fluorescent tubes over the phone, and just regular work.
Just regular stuff, yeah. Now you, to me, you've had, from my vantage point, it seems like you had an incredible sense of timing for what the network is looking for. And so what do you attribute that to? Because you over and over again come up with amazing ideas. And I'm kind of curious, because a lot of people are aspiring to listen to this type of thing, like, because I think you do. I think it's incredible, the sense that you have on what the viewers are looking for. Almost kind of like the Tonight Show when you were doing those pranks. And it's like, did you pitch that idea? It's a second question for me, because your timing is incredible.
I don't know. I think that as human beings, we all have, we're an amazing species based on our instinct, and if you think of any success in life, it's instinctually what somebody thought of. And usually that instinct at the moment goes against the grain of what is happening, because maybe their instinct is sending them one step ahead of everybody. And my thought is, I have never, because of fear of missing out, I've never said no. And even to an idea that has popped into my own head, I don't negate it. What most people do is, even if there's an idea that comes their way, it's always easier to go, oh, that's a good idea, but what if this happens? What if that happens? Or this is something I did before and this didn't work out, or this could be dangerous, or this could go wrong, or what if it's seen this way? We overthink our way out of great ideas.
No, that's cool.
Thought is not an asset. It really isn't. And it always leads to no, to somebody saying no. And I always say that no is N-O, which are the first two letters in nothing. Nothing comes from no. But yes, and just even if you have a thought, like even, and I'll just lean it into myself, I'm during the day, I'm engaged to be married. I'm in the retail lighting business and carpet business. And somebody says, I dare you to get up on stage. I go, oh, okay. And I just did it without, like, the thought, the normal thought, or the would be, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. Or even my buddy, Mike Binder, who says, when I'm in LA, I'll get you on the Comedy Store. I didn't need to go on the Comedy Store. I'm not pursuing this career. I've just said, okay. But because to everything that I've said, okay, in 2005, when Deal or No Deal came my way, the school of thought was not to do a game show. A game show was the coffin in anybody's career, as far as who was a stand-up comic. And it turned out to be the biggest success of my career. It's just saying yes and open to if an idea flies in your head, go for it. Just go for it. And if you look at the biggest changes and inventions that have happened and have changed the world, they're just go for it. Like, think about Steve Jobs. He was even like, to go spend all the time with Steve Wozniak in his garage. He was just interested in it. He had taken calligraphy. And does this sound like a really good idea? IBM is far ahead of him. They're already making computers, but he just wants to make it kind of prettier and easier and maybe a little more expensive.
I always tell people that the difference between a good idea and a bad idea is finishing yours. And that's, it just happened all the time. What I find interesting in 2005 with Deal or No Deal was, in 2003, you were actually considering basically quitting show business if what I know is true. And what changed your mind? Because they sent you an overseas clip of the show. You originally said no, right? To Deal or No Deal.
No, actually, yeah. That's the only thing I said after I have this whole dissertation about don't say no. It is the one thing I said no to, but my wife made me say, you've never done that before. So it was actually 2005 or 2004. I was done, as far as I had done everything. When I got onto HBO Young Comedian Special, and I had blown up in the 80s as far as a stand-up comic. And I was playing, 10,000 seat, outdoor places. And I was on St. Elsewhere, and I was doing movies. And then by 2004, I wasn't selling out a club. I still wanted to act, and I was going in for auditions for 5 lines and under, and sitting there on a folding chair in a casting office. So I was doing that, and that wasn't fun. It was just a lot of rejection. And I had done fine financially, and I just said, like, why am I pursuing this? I love real estate. I love investments. I love doing that. I don't need to do this to myself. I don't need to go sit, to drive in 3 hours of LA traffic to go sit, to go make a audition for 3 lines for $300. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I got the offer to do, they said they're doing a game show. And then as soon as they said they're doing a game show, I said, no, I've already made up my mind. I'm done, people.
Yeah, you want to go on your own terms, not the terms that everybody says you're dead on arrival doing a game show.
Well, I wasn't interested. Then they called back and they said, this is the biggest game show in the world, and America is the last one to get on board. And NBC is, which they had never done before, is going to give 5 hours of prime time, like Monday through Friday, every night. They're going to launch this. And without getting into the minutia of it all, my wife just said, you always say, don't say no, just do it. It's easy. They're just putting it into your lap. And I think it was just wanting me out of the house. But so I did. Yes. And I didn't really understand what it was. There was no game, you got to put yourself in the mindset of not knowing what that game is yet. There was nothing, just opening up cases. I didn't know what I would do in that, but without any thought, doing it and just playing it, it became the biggest success of my career, and relaunched me back in my interest of show business. And as far as when I negotiated after the first season, it had gone through the roof, and I said, rather than more money, at this point in my life, it's not even about money. I just want access. I just want I'd like to produce and make things and come up with ideas and sell ideas. So I got an office on the lot at Universal. I was with Universal for 7 years. And then since then I've gotten off the lot because I said, there was things I wanted to do. That's very corporate. And it's very, I sold a couple of shows and I put shows on the air. And, but at that time it was very linear, and it was like, so you got to think of shows, you got to think of games, you got to think of, and I think of other things. So I ended up going, finishing that deal, and then creating my own space, which I have still to this day, and
that was a brilliant big idea move right there, to say, not about the money, let's expand and feed and nurture what your gift is, obviously.
So I have this kind of consortium now where, I got like this 30,000 square feet where people come in and they're developing apps, they're doing podcasts, they're doing new technology. And, I'm a part of all this exciting new stuff. And that's, and whether I'm there and young influencers come in to do TikToks with me, or, we are developing an app or new technology. It's fun.
Well, let's talk about the entrepreneurial side of you and Proto. I'm fascinated with Proto, obviously because of my career on television, dealing with all these gadgets, and then we'll kind of finish up on AGT and what you got going on now. But if you don't mind, would you share about Proto, because it just seems like,
well, I had very little to do with Proto, but because I have FOMO, I have fear of missing out. So I live hours every day on social media, and I happen to see them on Instagram. And this guy, David Nussbaum, heads up this company where it's a hologram machine, but like no other. I've been fascinated in holograms and done business with the companies that did, you remember, like Tupac at the Coachella. Sure. But I always have been interested in, ultimately the ability to be in two places at one time, because that's, amortizing your time and your effort. And most of my life is spent getting to where it is that I have to go be productive, and getting there is not productive. But that's why I love holograms and communication. So I just called him and I said, this is amazing. This is, your technology is far and above anything that I've seen. I'm also an investor in the biggest comedy festival in the world is JFL, Just for Laughs, in Montreal. Anybody you ever know that is in comedy has come or has been in comedy, has been part of that. We're responsible. We discovered like Chappelle and Hart and Tim Allen and Roseanne, and this is our 40th year. And it's late July. If you ever have a chance, or any of your listeners have a chance, you got to go to Montreal. They close the streets. Coachella runs 600,000 people through in there. They just do, people I think know them now because they're more social media savvy. We run 2 million people through every year, who buy tickets. You can see everybody who's anybody. Anyway, my point was that I said, I love this. I'd love to get involved. I have access to comedians. I have access to, and me and Dave hit it off. And then he became, his office is based on my property. So, and I'm sitting on the board, and
when are we going to start seeing that technology in with the consumer marketplace or whatever that application is?
Well, I think ultimately that's where they want to go. And what they're doing right now is, it's like Zoom on steroids. So hopefully there'll be a consumer Proto box that you could sit on your desk, and in full 3-dimensional, with the use of your phone on the other side, you can project yourself and be in the room. Right now, banks are buying it in retail places, and people who want to sit and have meetings. But I tell every one of your listeners, go look at Portal on Instagram and see it'll just blow you away. And I think they have, there's no latency. It's like you're there, and people are on board. Ellen just did it on her show last week, where she was in a retail store. I think there's retail implications for it. And
well, I bet pitching products and, just up close and personal. And I mean, that's the state of the art stuff. I think that we've yet to see, but the fact that you recognize that opportunity. And I think for people listening too, it happens. Look, you saw somebody on Instagram, you thought it was cool, you reached out. It does happen. We hear about it all the time.
Warm water, massaging jets, backyard convenience. The relaxing hot tub experience you've been dreaming of could be just a click away. We're giving away a Master Spa's premium hot tub. Energy efficient, innovative design, and made in the USA. Go to masterspas.com/big idea for a chance to win a Master Spas hot tub. Again, go to masterspas.com/big idea for your opportunity to live life the better way.
He gave me a book on art forgery. I found myself drawn to these old masters. How did these artists take paint from a palette, arrange it on a canvas? I began to unlock the secrets. I was a storehouse of knowledge of how to create an illusion, present it to a experienced expert, manipulate his mind, and convince him and bring him to the inevitable conclusion that the painting is genuine. We flooded the market with my paintings, and I couldn't believe what I did. I couldn't believe it. Then the dominoes started falling, and eventually the FBI were led to my door. They uncovered a mountain of evidence against me.
But they never actually got you. At this point, you've sold a lot. You've got like $1 million in cash. You sold one painting for $717,000. Why did it go away? Why did you never get indicted? And how are we having this conversation?
I guess that's the greatest story of all.
To hear how Ken Perenni made millions in art forgery, dodged the mafia and the FBI, subscribe to The Jordan Harbinger Show and check out episode 282 in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening now.
Let's jump over to AGT. Personally, my favorite show. I'm not saying it because you're on the show. I'm not saying it. I'm literally saying it's my favorite show because I watch AGT reruns almost every morning because everything is showcased in the feel-good environment, right? And I like starting out feeling good like that. My favorite moment was a Champions moment where I want to say his name, Pasolito, or he had dual voices, male and female. It was, oh my God, it just blew my mind.
Yeah. What I love about it is, again, it kind of segues into what you're talking about. This is the 17th season that we're shooting right now. And I would have thought after 2 seasons on there that we've kind of drained the
You went to the honey pot a lot of times, right?
Right. But what you realize is that all of us have something within us, and have a talent. And maybe it's not singing, maybe it's not. I can't tell you how many times when I think I've seen everything, I realize I ain't seen nothing yet. And just these people who have these wonderfully different, unique, conceptual ideas, who live everyday lives like you and me, get to walk out on that stage. And what you watch, and what I get to watch with the best seat in the house, is I watch somebody's hopes and dreams and ideas come to fruition in a moment, in real time. The fact that you're mentioning his name, that was a kid in the Philippines who found he can do something really weird with his voice. There's probably a lot of other people that can do weird things with their voice that will never show up on a TV show, that wouldn't even have the idea, that will just go to their office every day or work in the factory, and just because it doesn't seem real. And that's the thing about putting these blockades in front of you. You show up, and every year there is more than somebody. There are a few people that will just show up and show you things that you've never seen before, done by somebody that you wouldn't expect, in a way you've never seen it before. And then their name, and it kind of changes. They put an impression in your mind that will never go away. And that's the beauty of that show. You're watching dreams come true.
I just saw it this morning. To the actual European, the Europe's Got Talent. However, it's a good thing to bring up at the moment, because it's a showcase of the woman who, they just aired it, who just sang from The Greatest Showman, the song that we all know.
On Britain's Got Talent.
Britain's Got Talent. Thank you, Howie. Thank you. And honestly, it brought me to tears, because this is what you guys do, and you showcase this talent. And here's a voice, a face now to the voice that we were all moved by, who didn't really want to do it because she didn't feel comfortable. And you guys provide that platform. But you do an amazing job. All you guys do an amazing job on the show. But let's talk today let's finish up, if you don't mind. I know you're in a hurry. We appreciate you coming on, because you're heading out to America's Got Talent right now. But Howie Mandel does stuff, your podcast with your daughter. Why don't you give us a little heads up on that?
Well, when we were in the throes of COVID, we were both locked down in our separate homes. My daughter and I, Jacqueline Schultz, who's also a very prominent influencer, and she was a teacher for a decade in the inner city. She's the mom of 2. I'm very proud of her. And the only communication I had, she didn't want to go near us because we were in our 60s, and I didn't, and they were locked away because she had young children. And so we would spend hours on the phone each and every day doing what we do, just being silly and doing prank calls and answering weird ads and calling some of my friends, getting into conversations, group chats and weird. And my wife walked in one day and said, "What is this for?" I go, "That's a weird question. What is it for?" "For us." She goes, "You should record this." So that's just Howie Mandel does stuff. And each and every week, we sit down for an hour and talk about what's going on, share stories with friends. This week we have Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric on. I'm a huge Tim and Eric fan, but everybody from Heidi and Bill Burr and Bert Kreischer, comic friends, actors. People are on. We'll do crank calls. We have influencers on. We do challenges. We do. We allow people to call it.
Not to mention the crazy stuff that you do, that you guys do, and it's fun to hear and see that stuff, because it's crazy, but it's everyday stuff that people just completely relate to. Now, coming out on Netflix, I love this platform because let's talk about your new game show that's coming out on Netflix on April 27th, which is called Bullshit.
And that one blew me away. I obviously, I'm a kind of a snob when it comes to games, so it'd be hard to impress me. This impressed me. As I say in the ad, and I don't like trivia at all, but I do love bullshit. And bullshit is something that seeps every part of our lives, whether it's on dating apps, whether it's from somebody you're talking to in sales, whether it's somebody you're listening to, or, you know, we all want to detect or excrete bullshit. And that's what this game is. It's this, and
it's off the card game, right, Howie?
It's not, but it's like that. There's a lot of bullshit.
Okay.
So this is just it's a trivia game where you go up a ladder to 1 million. But if you don't know the answer, you just have to convince one of 3 people. There's 3 people that are bullshit detectors that are vying for that spot. If you can just convince one of them that you know what you're talking about and it is bullshit, then you get the money. So people are winning millions of dollars and they don't know a fucking thing, but they're good bullshitters. And as a viewer and as a host, it was the same thing. You know, the question doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. What you're looking at is you're going, does this guy really know what he's talking about? Does she, or is this bullshit? And the 3 people that are trying to detect it, they want to be as accurate as possible. If you think that this person knows what they're talking about, you want to be accurate. You want to say, yes, I believe them, because whoever, if I'm bullshitting, if I'm in there and I'm bullshitting and all 3 people think you don't know what the hell you're talking about, it's bullshit, then I'm out and I'm off the game. Whoever was the most accurate out of those 3 are calling bullshit or truth is the next one in the spot. So you want to be as accurate as possible. But the idea is you don't have to know the answers. You just have to be staring at their face. And some people are horrible bullshitters. Some people can't tell a story. You know it. And it's like real life poker, but you're not watching poker. You know, in poker, these people just put on their sunglasses so you can't see any signals and they go all in and you go, is he bluffing? These are people that are forced to talk and forced to answer and forced to make you believe they know what they're talking about. You don't have.
So that's Netflix April 27th, right?
Right, that's correct.
I never thought I'd ever get a chance to tell you this, but good luck with your bullshit.
Thank you, buddy.